Imagine stepping outside tonight, looking up at the sky, and freezing in place, because the moon is gone. Not hidden behind clouds, not in an eclipse, gone, but in its place. Something impossible hangs above Earth. A gigantic world, golden clouds swirling across its surface, storms larger than entire continents, and rings stretching from one side of the sky to the other. Saturn, the second largest planet in our solar system, now sitting where the moon used to be. At first, nobody understands what they're seeing. People grab their phones, social media explodes, astronomers rush into observatories, governments issue emergency statements, but no explanation comes, because there is no explanation. The moon, a world only 3,474 kilometers wide, has somehow been replaced by a giant nearly 120,000 kilometers across. Suddenly, night no longer exists. Saturn reflects enormous amounts of sunlight. Even after sunset, the sky glows with a permanent golden twilight. Stars begin disappearing from view. Constellations humanity has known for thousands of years vanish behind the enormous planet. For the first time in human history, an entire generation grows up without seeing the Milky Way. Then come the rings. From horizon to horizon, Saturn's rings dominate the heavens. Some nights they appear as a glowing bridge across the sky. Other nights, they look like giant walls hanging over entire cities. People travel across continents just to witness the sight. Photographs become famous overnight. Many call it the most beautiful thing humanity has ever seen. But scientists are terrified, because beauty isn't the problem. Gravity is. The moon's gravity controls Earth's tides, stabilizes our planet's rotation, and quietly influences life in ways most people never realize. Saturn may be farther away than the moon's original size would suggest in this thought experiment. But if an object with Saturn's mass suddenly occupied the moon's position, the consequences would be catastrophic. Within hours, tidal sensors across the world begin reporting impossible numbers. Ocean levels rise faster than ever recorded. Harbors flood, coastlines disappear, fishing boats break free from their docks. Entire beaches vanish beneath the water. Then the first mega tides arrive. Not 1 meter, not 2, but walls of water racing toward land. Cities built beside the ocean, New York, Tokyo, Shanghai, London, Sydney, begin preparing for evacuation. Millions of people move inland. Highways become parking lots. Airports overflow with desperate travelers. Meanwhile, the oceans continue rising, because Saturn isn't pulling on the water alone. It's pulling on Earth itself. The crust begins bending. Tiny shifts are detected deep underground. Earthquakes increase around the world. Volcano monitoring stations enter emergency mode. Scientists run simulation after simulation. Each one reaches the same terrifying conclusion. If Saturn truly replaced the moon at the moon's distance, Earth might not survive at all. Because this isn't just a bigger moon. This is a planet, nearly 95 times more massive than Earth, hovering in our backyard. And the worst part? This is only the first day. The first 24 hours pass. Saturn still hangs in the sky. Impossible, beautiful, terrifying. Its rings stretch from horizon to horizon, turning every sunset into something that looks almost divine. For a moment, humanity forgets the danger. People gather on rooftops. Millions livestream the view. Photographers call it the greatest sight in human history. Then, the oceans begin to move. The moon raises tides because of gravity. A gentle pull, enough to lift entire oceans by a few meters. But Saturn is not the moon. Saturn contains more than 7,600 times the mass of the moon. And Earth is beginning to feel every bit of it. The tides don't arrive as waves. They arrive as mountains. Across the Atlantic, sea levels begin rising several meters every hour. Coastal sensors stop reporting numbers entirely, because they were never designed for this. Entire beaches disappear. Harbors vanish beneath the water. Ports shut down worldwide. Then, the first mega tsunami strikes. A wall of water hundreds of meters high races inland. Entire cities disappear beneath it. Not because of storms, not because of earthquakes, simply because Saturn is pulling the oceans toward itself. The Pacific Ocean begins bulging upward toward the giant planet in the sky. The side of Earth facing Saturn experiences enormous high tides. On the opposite side of the planet, another massive bulge forms. The oceans are no longer behaving like oceans. They are behaving like liquid responding to gravity. Continents begin flooding. New York disappears. Tokyo follows. Shanghai, Mumbai, Los Angeles, London, Sydney. Hundreds of millions flee inland. But there is nowhere truly safe. Because the oceans are not Earth's only moving surface. The crust begins moving too. Earth itself stretches under Saturn's gravitational pull. The planet rises and falls by several meters each day. Scientists call it solid Earth tides. Normally, they are so small that nobody notices. Now, entire mountain ranges are flexing. Fault lines awaken. Earthquakes erupt across every continent. Volcanoes begin showing signs of activity. Magma chambers shift. Pressure builds. Within days, dozens of volcanoes erupt simultaneously. Ash fills the skies. Air travel ends worldwide. Then comes the realization that terrifies scientists most. Earth's orbit itself may be changing. Saturn's gravity is no longer affecting just the oceans. It's affecting the entire planet. Astronomers calculate the numbers. Again and again, hoping they made a mistake. They didn't. If Saturn truly occupied the Moon's position, the Earth-Moon system wouldn't become unstable. It would cease to exist. The gravitational forces would be so extreme that Earth's rotation could begin slowing. Days become longer. Weather patterns collapse. Jet streams shift. Climate zones move. The planet itself starts changing. Humanity looks up at Saturn every night. At first with wonder, now with fear. Because the most beautiful object ever seen in the sky may also be the last thing humanity ever sees. And Saturn hasn't even reached its most dangerous moment yet. Because in Part 3, scientists discover something even more terrifying than floods or earthquakes. The possibility that Earth itself could be torn apart by gravity. 1 week has passed. Saturn still dominates the sky. It no longer feels like a planet. It feels like a second world, hanging above humanity. Its rings stretch across the heavens like giant highways of ice and stone. At night, you can see shadows cast by the rings themselves moving across Earth's surface. Cities enter darkness, then light again, as Saturn slowly moves overhead. It is breathtaking and terrifying, because while humanity stares upward, scientists are staring at something else. The numbers. And the numbers are getting worse. Much worse. Earth's crust continues flexing under Saturn's gravity. Entire continents rise and fall by several meters every day. Fault lines that had remained quiet for thousands of years suddenly awaken. Earthquakes become a daily event. Magnitude 7, magnitude 8, magnitude 9. Some are so powerful that they are detected on every continent simultaneously. Volcanoes erupt across the Pacific Ring of Fire. Ash blocks sunlight. Temperatures begin falling. Agriculture collapses. Food shortages spread across the world. But this is still not humanity's greatest problem. Because Saturn's gravity is doing something even more dangerous. It is pulling harder on the side of Earth facing Saturn than on the side facing away. This difference in gravity is called a tidal force. The same force that creates ocean tides. The same force that stretches galaxies. The same force that tears stars apart near black holes. And now, that force is acting on Earth. Scientists begin running worst-case simulations. Some refuse to believe the results. Others simply sit in silence. Because every simulation reaches the same conclusion. If Saturn occupied the Moon's orbit, Earth would eventually cross something called the Roche limit, the point where tidal forces become stronger than an object's own gravity. Beyond this distance, planets don't survive, they break apart. At first, nothing dramatic happens, then cracks begin appearing deep beneath Earth's crust. Volcanic activity explodes. Tectonic plates shift faster than ever before. Entire mountain ranges collapse. Mega earthquakes tear continents apart. New oceans form. Old oceans disappear. The surface of Earth becomes almost unrecognizable. Then, the impossible begins. Rocks themselves start lifting from the surface. Not because of explosions, not because of impacts, because Saturn's gravity is literally pulling Earth apart. From orbit, astronauts witness something no human was ever meant to see. Streams of dust, ice, and rock begin escaping into space. Earth starts developing its own ring system, made from pieces of itself. Cities vanish, countries disappear, the atmosphere becomes unstable. Human civilization, which survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, and supervolcanoes, faces an enemy unlike any before: gravity itself. Then astronomers make one final calculation. If Saturn remains here, there is no recovery, no rebuilding, no future generations, because eventually, Earth will no longer be a planet. It will become debris orbiting a giant world in the sky. A beautiful ring system, visible from across the solar system. The remains of our home. And in part 4, we'll separate science from fiction and discover whether Saturn replacing the Moon could ever really happen. And whether Earth could actually survive such an impossible event. So, could this actually happen? Could Saturn suddenly appear where the Moon used to be? According to everything we know about physics, no. At least, not naturally. Saturn is not just another planet. It is a giant world containing almost 95 times the mass of Earth and more than 7,600 times the mass of the Moon. Moving something that large into the Moon's orbit would require energies beyond anything imaginable. No known process in the universe could quietly place Saturn there overnight. And that's very good news. Because if Saturn actually occupied the Moon's distance from Earth, our planet probably wouldn't survive for long. The tides alone would be catastrophic. Entire oceans would rise toward Saturn. Coastlines would disappear beneath enormous walls of water. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions would spread across the globe. Eventually, the tidal forces could become powerful enough to tear Earth apart completely. Fortunately, the real Saturn is much farther away. On average, about 1.4 billion kilometers from Earth. At that distance, its gravitational effect on our planet is almost negligible. But this thought experiment reveals something extraordinary. The Moon, small and often overlooked, may be one of the most important reasons life exists on Earth at all. The Moon stabilizes Earth's tilt. Without it, our planet's seasons could become wildly chaotic over millions of years. The Moon also creates tides. Those tides help shape coastlines, ocean ecosystems, and possibly even the evolution of early life itself. For billions of years, the Moon has acted as Earth's silent partner, always there, quietly influencing our world. Saturn reminds us how delicate that balance really is. Replace one object in the solar system, and everything changes. The planets aren't randomly scattered through space. They exist in an incredibly precise gravitational dance. Change one dancer, and the entire performance begins to collapse. Perhaps that's the most fascinating lesson of all. When we look at Saturn through a telescope, we see beauty, golden clouds, endless rings, storms larger than continents. But distance makes beauty possible. Some things in the universe are breathtaking precisely because they remain far away. A sunset, a supernova, a black hole, and perhaps Saturn itself. Because while Saturn may be one of the most beautiful worlds in the solar system, it would also be one of the most terrifying neighbors imaginable. If you enjoyed this journey into one of the strangest cosmic possibilities ever imagined, be sure to subscribe to What If Beyond, because the next question may be even more unbelievable. Until next time, keep asking, what if?